There's 1 week remaining before the comment period ends on NCUA's field of membership proposal. This is one of the more significant modernizations of field of membership regulation in more than 13 years. It's really important that credit unions weigh in on this proposal. There have been more than 1,200 credit unions that have done so already, but with a week to go, it's really time for federal and state chartered credit unions to take a look at the proposal and write their comment letters. We think this is a very positive proposal that is going to provide some expansion to how consumers and small businesses can access credit unions. It's obviously important for federally chartered credit unions, but it's also important for state chartered credit unions to look at the proposal because there's competition between the federal and the state credit union acts. And improving the federal act, as this proposal would do, will help drive future improvements to state charters. So everybody needs to take a look at the proposal, use Power Comment to submit your comment letter and do it before next Monday. It's really important for the credit union system. Last week, 62 members of the House of Representatives sent the Financial Accounting Standards Board a letter urging them to delay implementation of their CECL proposal, Current Expected Credit Loss proposal. We've been really active on this issue for several years, going all the way back to 2013, 2012, when it first became an issue at FASB. We've been working with ICBA, the independent community bankers, over the last several months to generate the support in Congress for this letter, and we're real pleased that 62 members signed the letter. We've also been holding several meetings with FASB, and on Friday, Susan Hannigan from Jeanne d'Arc Credit Union and Luke Martone, who's on CUNA's advocacy staff, will go to Connecticut to meet with FASB for a third time to discuss this and how the proposal would impact credit unions. This is a really critical issue. If FASB implements the proposal as it has been proposed, it's going to have consequences on how credit unions account for credit impairment. So we'd like to see a delay. We'd like to see FASB improve the proposal so it doesn't have an adverse impact on credit unions. A lot of times we are focused on what's going on here in Washington, and it's easy to forget all the great work that the state credit union leagues are doing in the state capitals. We've got 41 state legislatures in session right now, and in the first month of the year, there have already been 29,000 bills introduced. Some of those have to do with credit unions, and in a lot of cases, the state leagues are really driving some activity. So in Massachusetts and Michigan and Wisconsin, we've seen the leagues introduce charter enhancement legislation. In Virginia and Ohio and New York, the leagues are working on public deposit legislation. Missouri is working on a parity bill. Arizona is working on legislation that would modernize governance. And there's also really great things happening in Georgia. They're just coming off of their state GAC, and they've got a bill that clarifies when lawyers need to be present in different parts of the lending process. So a number of things going on at the state capitals led by our state associations, and this is an area where CUNA's advocacy team helps support them by making sure that the bills that they're working on, there might be some similarities with other states. We have a model credit union act that they can turn to find language, and so we're really excited about what the leagues are doing at the state level, even in the first month of the session. So there's so much going on in the regulatory area and at FASB and in the state capitals, but Congress is back in session as well. The House had taken a week off for the blizzard, but they're back, and they're going to be considering CUNA-supported legislation to end Operation Choke Point. This is a bill that was introduced by Representative Blaine Luetkemeyer of Missouri, and it addresses a Department of Justice investigation that was launched a couple of years ago that really put pressure on banks and credit unions to close or terminate accounts on small businesses like gun shops and adult stores and things like that. And the banks and credit unions have kind of pushed back on this investigation and say, listen, we know our customers, don't make us close these accounts unless you can demonstrate that there's illegal activity going on. And so that's what this legislation says. It says, Department of Justice, let's back off the credit unions and banks on Operation Choke Point. So we're supportive of the bill. The Senate is also in session this week. They're going to consider energy legislation. Financial Services Committee is going to hold a number of hearings, but what we're really paying attention to is a markup on Tuesday of the committee's views on the budget for fiscal year 2017. A lot of times this document will include some policy directives that can be incorporated in the budget the House passes later in the year. So we pay attention to that, and that's what's going on Capitol Hill.